guys to step up. And once again, multiple guys making contributions, game-winning plays, but Portland comes up just short. Steph Curry had a game-high 31 points tonight, and the Warriors get the victory by a final score of 110-106. Chad Doing and Chris Burkhart with you, fifth quarter here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. The Trailblazers and Warriors tonight from Chase Center down in San Francisco. And really the game got off to a slower start than I would have anticipated. Portland jumped out quick tonight in that slow-moving first quarter. They took a 13-6 lead about 5 minutes into the game following a Sharp three and a Duop free throw. They pushed their lead all the way to 18-10 following another three from Sharp and a jam, but the Warriors responded. Golden State went on an 8-0 run powered by a Curry three and a couple of quick hoops from Jonathan Kuminga. And after a three from Simons and a bucket from Scoot, the Blazers were able to take a 4-point lead at 26-22 at the end of the first quarter. Sharp led the Blazers in the first with 10 points. Simons had 8. Both teams got off to a cold start, shooting below 40% from the field in that first quarter. In the second, the Blazers opened on a 13-8 run, which pushed their lead to 9 at 39-30 following a Chris Murray three. The Warriors did respond, a 10-5 run, cutting the Blazers' advantage to 4 at 44-40, but the Blazers quickly able to push back and get their lead back to 9 on an 11-6 run, taking a 55-46 lead with 44 seconds remaining in the half following a three from Reith. The Blazers led 55-48 going into halftime. Sharp led the Blazers with 14 in the first half. Simons added 11, and Reith made it 3 Blazers in double figures. He finished with 10 in the first half. Both teams shot below 40% in the half. The Blazers did convert 14 points off of 10 Warriors turnovers, so they were able to take advantage of some of the sloppiness, which was nice. Most of the third was back and forth. Portland took an 11-point lead at 77-66 with 4:45 remaining in the period after a Jabari Walker bucket. But powered by Steph Curry, Golden State exploded for a 12-2 run, cutting the Blazers' lead to 1 at 79-78. Another three from Murray, a Walker hoop, and a bucket from Simons gave Portland an 86-82 lead heading into the fourth quarter. Now, the third period, much different than the first half. The Blazers ripped the Nets at 59% in the quarter. The Warriors heated it up at 55%. In that third, Curry on fire with 17 points. Walker led the way for Portland with 10. So really it was anyone's ball game heading into the fourth. And in that final period, the runs for both teams would continue. Portland took a 98-92 lead with 5:32 to play. But the Warriors quickly answered with a 7-0 run, forcing a Blazers timeout with 3:59 remaining. That run featured a three from Klay Thompson and buckets from both Wiggins and Curry. The run extended out to 11-2, giving the Warriors a 103-100 lead before a Sharp free throw ended that spurt. Thibault nailed a three for the Blazers to pull the team within 1 at 95-94 with just under a minute to play. The Blazers would get a stop, but a Warriors steal on an unfortunate turnover at the hands of Toumani Camara gave the Warriors the ball. There was probably about 5 to 6 seconds difference between shot clock and game clock, and Steph Curry able to sink a three in the face of Matisse Thybulle with 9.2 seconds remaining, and the Warriors took a 108-104 lead, thus ending the Blazers' bid to get a victory down at Chase Center. 110-106 is your final, and really the key stretch came in that final 5:32. The Blazers had the 6-point lead at 98-92, but the Warriors able to close the game on an 18-8 run. How many times have we seen that before over the course of time? Blazers play it close down in San Francisco. The Warriors crank up the pressure, and they close the game on a big run and win it. It's very annoying. I get tired of seeing the Blazers lose to the Warriors, but again, for what this team is trying to accomplish right now, for the guys they had available and who are on the floor, this team competed. They defended. I had a couple of guys I know down in San Francisco reach out to me and say, you're right about Camara. He looks like he could be the real deal. And they put themselves in a position, but they just couldn't overcome a couple of the mistakes. And, of course, Steph Curry is a problem. and he led the way tonight in the game, had a game-high 31 points, and he was clutch in that third quarter with 17 points. For the Blazers tonight, Shaedon Sharpe continued his strong play of late, 26 points, 10 of 18 from the field, 4 of 9 from downtown. They got 10 points from Dewap Reef, who continues to play well with the minutes he's been given. Anfernee Simons in his return, 37 minutes, 28 points, 10 of 27 from the field. He was 6 of 13 from downtown. No points in 13 minutes of action for Malcolm Brogdon, who left the game with knee soreness. He did not return. Off the bench, they got 12 points on 5 of 8 shooting and 21 minutes from Jabari Walker. He contributed 5 rebounds. They got 9 from Scoot Henderson on 4 of 9 shooting. He also chipped in 4 assists and a couple of rebounds. 9 points from Chris Murray, who was 3 of 5 from downtown. Great to see Murray get a chance to play and cash in a bit. 6 points from Murray on 2 of 4 shooting from downtown. 9 points from Matisse Thybulle. He was 3 of 5 from downtown. The Blazers tonight connected on 41% of their shots. They were 10 of 34 from downtown. And once again, I am making a mistake. Let me repeat that. The Blazers, 41% from the field, 34% on 16 of 46% shooting from three-point range. And the Warriors tonight, 41% and just 29% from downtown on 10 of 34 shooting. The big advantage tonight for the Warriors, and really where they're able to take advantage of the game, they were plus 16 at the free throw line, 28 of 33. Portland just 12 of 16. And while the Blazers were able to have some success from three-point range, they were plus 18 in that category. The Warriors made up for it at the foul line with some of their aggressiveness and the way they were able to attack the rim. I mentioned the game-high 31 from Curry. They got 11 points from Klay Thompson on just 3 of 13 shooting, 6 points from Kevon Looney, 10 points, 10 boards, 9 assists, a near triple-double for Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins finished with 9 points. Off the bench, Moses Moody with 12, Dario Saric with 13, and also 13 points on 6 of 6 shooting from Jonathan Kuminga as the Warriors get the win 110-106. All right, telephone number is 503-248-0620. You can jump on board. We will hear from Chauncey Billups. We will give you a scoreboard update, and we'll give you a little what's the scoot later in the show and update you on Scoot Henderson. But the Blazers now will return home and get ready to face the Dallas Mavericks Friday night at Moda Center. That tip-off will be at 7 with Game Day, hosted by Chris Burkhardt Friday, starting at 4:30. All right, 503-248-0620, 110-106 your final. Warriors get the win tonight. They improved to 10-11 on the year. The Blazers fall to 6-14. It's the fifth quarter. Chad Doing and Chris Burkhardt here on 620 Rip City Radio.
Liberty Coin and Currency presents the fifth quarter shot of the night. Liberty Coin and Currency, the place to buy and sell your gold, silver, jewelry, and coins.
Walker knocks it free, but Saric gets it back. Sharp comes to help. Out to Green, puts up a three. Short, long rebound, out to Moody. Moody drives into the lane, pushes off and kicks to Saric. Slips through, got away with the travel, but the Blazers turn him over. Sharp on the open court with the drive in the right hand power slam. Cocked it back and threw it down.
All right, fifth quarter chat doing Chris Burkhart with you. Blazers fall tonight, 110-106 to the Warriors. A couple of good things I think you've got to be excited about if you're a Trailblazer fan. Number one, Scoot Henderson looking much more comfortable in his offense with the way he operated tonight. And we'll get into more of Scoot when we get into what's a Scoot. But you got to like what you're seeing with Scoot Henderson, okay? Very confident. He's only going to get better with time. He's got way too much freaking ability to not figure this out. And you can see it if you're being patient with your eyes. You can see it starting to come together for him. Gosh, I freaking love it, man. Big props to Scoot for one, understanding what most fans don't, even myself, to be patient because this crap doesn't come to you overnight. You think these people just show up on a basketball court? You walk into the NBA one day from the G League and you just automatically know how to play the game? Heck no. It takes time. The guys he's going up against every night in the NBA are a lot different than the guys he went up against in the G League. It's like night and day difference in terms of talent. So props to him for being patient, for continuing to focus and learn, but most importantly, realize that, this isn't going to happen overnight. So I like what I'm seeing from Scoot, but most importantly, Tamani Kamara. I mean, the guy's a freak, okay? I love Tamani Kamara. I don't know what he's going to become. I'm not trying to sit here and proclaim he's going to be like this or that or Scottie Pippen or the next Jerome Kersey or whatever. I have no idea, okay? All I can tell you is that what I see right now is a young man who does not understand that he is a rookie with no experience. He's out there trying to prove that he can play in this league, and he's working his ass off, okay? He is out there with gigantic balls showing that he's willing to compete against anyone. Draymond Green, no problem. Chauncey Billups decides to switch it up and put Tamani Kamara on Steph Curry, and he embraces the challenge. You know how hard it is to defend that guy? Tamani Kamara he's been great, okay? You got to respect a guy who works his tail off and who shows the willingness to defend and the ability to defend. And because he's doing so many great things in practice, the coaches have to find a flipping way to put him on the floor. It's kind of like the kids. Okay, okay, you can have a job. Just stop bothering me. I mean, that's the way Tamani is in practice, right? Were you young and so persistent in something that finally someone's just like, look, I'll give you an opportunity. Just please shut up and leave me alone. I mean, that's the way Kamara approaches the practice. He's so crazy in the way he works that the coach is like, okay, man, just settle down. We'll play you. You can play in the games. How does that sound, Tamani? That's the way he's working. You see what he's doing out there tonight, like irritating people, just defending. And the Blazers able to slow down some of the Warriors' offense by getting themselves in the right position. So when you see those things, you got to love that also. Can we talk about Shaedon Sharpe for a moment? What about the hesitation move that bad boy put on Draymond Green? It's basically like Shaedon just drove to the bucket and double-barreled Draymond on the way. And, of course, Draymond gets burned, and he starts turning around trying to point his finger at teammates because they were out of position. Nastiness.
Classic, right? He took his soul, just like he took Walker Kessler's soul a couple games ago. In a different way, though. He took Draymond's.
It was beautiful. And Shaedon Sharpe tonight with a sensational game for the Trailblazers. 41 minutes, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 10 of 18 from the floor, 4 of 9 from downtown. So the youngsters. Development for Scoot, check. Development for Shaedon, check. Tamani Kamara, check. And what about this? What about the way this team continues to play hard? Look, if you're going to criticize, this is how it's got to go. For me, for you, for everyone. You can criticize someone as much as you want. I have no problem with that. If someone deserves criticism, you can dish it out. But it has to go both ways. If someone deserves credit, even if you don't want to give them credit, but they deserve it, you have to give it to them. Is that fair? Chauncey Billups, and I know this is painful for some of you, but listen to me. Chauncey, are you listening? Chauncey Billups, the Blazers coach, deserves credit for the work he's doing right now. I'm sorry to whisper this in your ear, but he does. Look at the way this team's continuing to play. Like, you take this game tonight in San Francisco. Malcolm Brogdon, 13 minutes, knee soreness, he's out. Jeremy Grant's concussed, he's out. You don't have your big man in the middle, DeAndre Ayton, he's out. So you've got to play small ball at the Chase Center against the Warriors. And by golly, they were right there. They were in a position to win the game. Competing, Reef able to step in and play well. They've got guys, they haven't been able to play the same lineup throughout the year because guys have been in and out. Anfernee makes a return. He looks pretty smooth in the process. You're playing the youngsters a lot more minutes than maybe what you anticipated. And they're right there competing with the chance to win the game. And look at the development of the young guys. And look at the way they're defending. Doesn't he deserve some? Or are you just not going to give it to him? You can't bring yourself to give him credit for the work he's doing as the coach. Look, I'm not saying that he's the answer for sure long term, but you have to give out credit when it's due, and it's due. So big props to Chauncey. I like the way the guys are competing. I know you don't want to do it, but that's okay. You have to sometimes. Sometimes we have to do things. We have to take medicine, right? I don't like it when I hit my tee shot into the trees and I've got to punch it out with my 5-iron right into the fairway. I don't like to do it, but gosh darn it, sometimes I got to do it. You got to take the medicine and just be like, all right, man, I'll put myself back in the fairway. Chauncey Billups is doing a good job with this group. That's all. That's all. He's doing a good job. The guys are competing hard. They're playing their butts off, and they're defending. They're playing defense. On the basis of the fact that they're actually playing defense and look like they know what they're doing defensively is a small miracle. And that's like almost like the Lord stepping in to part the Red Sea. The Blazers are playing defense. I don't know how, but they are. And it's good. We can applaud that. The Blazers tonight, aggressive. They scored 23 points off of 17 Trailblazer turnovers. Portland just 10 turnovers tonight. That's pretty good. That's better than I anticipated tonight. But in the end, the Blazers, I think the other reason why this game, it's hard to win games at the end in a close game in their building when you're playing against a team that knows how to win games. And we saw it at the end. Kuminga, a couple of great passes from Draymond, Steph Curry. They were attacking the basket. They got to the free throw line. A lot of things can be learned in a game like this from some of these youngsters out there watching the Warriors. But I love Kamara willing to take on the challenge of defending Steph. It's very good. Very, very good. Very good. All right, Burkhardt, I'll ask you a question. The Blazers are 6-14, but they're playing a lot of close games, many more than maybe what we anticipated. They're competitive. What do you make of the fact that they're in all of these games competitive, giving themselves a chance to win? Anything?
I mean, it's good. It's good. It's what you like to see. There's still people upset that they lost. Some in our chat, some on social media. I get it. Everyone fans differently. But for me, I don't see the issue here. I mean, you go into Golden State and you don't have Jeremy Grant. You don't have DeAndre Ayton. Malcolm Brogdon goes down early. You're trying to find the sweet spot to get Ann in there, and the team looks good. And we've barely hinted at the fact that the offense looks completely different with an actual shooter on the floor, right? Like, that's going to open up a lot of things in the long run. But I think these crunch time games, Chad, even when you lose them for a young team like this, I think they're important, right? Because how many times do people say, like, oh, you got to have that playoff experience, right? Oh, this team's never been to the playoffs, and when they finally get there, yeah, they lost because they didn't have playoff experience. Yeah, well, when this team continues to gel and continues to grow, they're going to have a lot of experience in these crazy little crunch time close games. And, they're going to learn eventually that, maybe, throwing the behind the back passes like we talked about in the pregame show isn't the best idea, with 2 minutes left in the game. But this one in particular, Chad, I mean, yes, you have limited offensive options in general. Toumani Camara fouls out. Jabari fouls out after playing a pretty good game on the defensive side of the ball as well. And so, you're down bodies, and that sucks. But I do think these are things that are important for the maturation of a young team.
All right, we'll keep things rolling here on fifth quarter. We'll come back, and we'll give you a scoreboard report, and then we'll hear from Chauncey Billups, who had a chance to speak after the game. Blazers returning home to Portland. They're going to host the Dallas Mavericks Friday night at Moda Center. The tip-off is at 7, game day at 4:30 here on 620 Rip City Radio.
It's time for a fifth quarter scoreboard report powered by Columbia Heating and Cooling, raising your expectations of comfort.
All right, we start in Cleveland tonight where the Cavaliers improved to 12-9. They topped the Magic 121-111. Donovan Mitchell, 35 points tonight. Magic fall to 14-7. In Detroit, the Grizzlies over the Pistons, 116-102. They improved their record to 6-14. The Pistons now 2-19. Desmond Bane, 49 points in the win. In our nation's capital, the 76ers improved to 13-7. They topped the Wizards 131-126. 50 points and 13 rebounds for Joel Embiid. A final in Toronto, the Heat over the Raptors 112-103. Caleb Martin with 24 points and 12 boards. In Atlanta, the Nets over the Hawks 114-113. Mikal Bridges, 32 points and 6 assists. In Minnesota,
Very
the
important
Timberwolves,
distinction.
Yeah, I'm sure Mikal does not appreciate that too much. One guy's into basketball, the other guy's into domestic violence. But Oh, well, just details. Minnesota over San Antonio tonight, 102-94. In Chicago, the Bulls over the Hornets, 111-100. DeMar DeRozan, 29 points and 6 rebounds. In Houston, the Rockets, 110. The Thunder, 101. In Dallas, the Mavericks ripped the Jazz, 147-97. Triple-double for Luka Doncic, 40 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. The Mavericks will be in town on Friday night. They improved to 12-8. And in Los Angeles, the Clippers over the Nuggets by a final score of 111-102. James Harden, 20 points and 11 assists. Triple-double for Nikola Jokic in the loss, 22 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists.
Time Jeep of Portland presents the Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups. Time for a brand new ride from Time Jeep of Portland. You won't believe the huge deals they're offering. With over 300 new and used vehicles to choose from, you'll find the perfect ride for your new adventure at Time Jeep. Find us just minutes away from the Motor Center off I-84 or visit timejeep.com. Drive with time.
All right, let's take a listen to Blazers coach Chauncey Billups following their 110-106 loss at Chase Center tonight in San Francisco.
Played a great game. I'm proud. I'm happy for us. We played a really good game. Came up short. Just got a little unlucky at the end. You know, you got a chance. Tumani gets the rebound. He's falling out of bounds, and it's just unlucky, man. You know, we have a chance right there to really keep pressing along. We've been in transition, trying to, you know, attack their retreating defense, which we've been great at all night. And man, that was just a tough one.
Pretty large disparity in the amount of free throws tonight. How do you feel like your team did dealing with that?
I thought we did a good job. You know, this is the stuff we face every night, bro. You know, I understand we're a young team, you know, and we play against these veteran teams, but that shouldn't matter. You know, I just want some consistency, man. Same things they call for the other team, I just want them to call the same calls. Just some consistency, man, and we just don't get that, you know, and it's really frustrating. But, you know, we are a team, we're a no excuse team. You know, whatever hand we dealt, we just play it, and we do the best we can and see what happens.
Anfernee tonight, obviously his return, a little bit of a slow start. Seemed like he kind of started to find his rhythm in the second half. Just your thoughts on how he played tonight? Yeah,
I thought Ant did a good job, you know, from being out so long. I thought his rhythm was pretty good. His wind was pretty good. You know, obviously we needed his shot making. Hurt us when Malcolm went out, you know, to have another guy that can just kind of play make. Although I thought Scoot played a great game in his minutes, and everybody. I mean, Shaden was really good. We just was so short in numbers, man. You know, not having basically 3 starters for this game with DA and Malcolm and Jeremy was tough.
It seems like Shaden is kind of putting it together consistently right now, and another really good game offensively, at least for him tonight. Kind of, how do you feel like his progression has gone in this last couple weeks, particularly when guys have come back into the lineup that it can kind of shoulder that load?
Very good. You know, Shaden is developing fast. He's starting to see the game and see what's going on out there. He's making better reads most nights. His defense has gotten better as guys come back into the lineup, you know, able to alleviate some of the, you know, the pressure that he has to be great every single night. Obviously tonight we needed him to be incredible, you know, for us having so many people not playing.
We talked a lot about kind of looking forward to your center rotation this year. Tonight, completely different. You got Duop, you got Jabari. Both comported themselves really well. Just your thoughts on how both those guys played tonight.
Yeah, I thought both guys played well. Wap was good, you know. He provided some good shot making for us, but he was rolling, making good plays. He's a good basketball player. You know, he's a pretty all-around player. And then Barry as well. You know, Barry, he's a scrapper, man. You know, he's a scrapper. He's going to get in there. He's going to mix it up. I thought defensively he did a good job. Offensively, I thought he did a good job. They was playing kind of blitzing Ant a lot or playing at the level. He did a good job being a secondary playmaker. And those dudes haven't really been in these positions, you know, that much. And so I thought both of them played very well, you know. And like you said, I mean, we didn't know that we would play a lineup like this all season, you know, but guys stayed ready. And again, we just we play the cards we dealt, man, and we just go out there and play as hard as we can.
There's Coach Billups. It is kind of funny to hear someone say, hey, we're a no-excuse team, but yet slip in a few excuses there in the process. And I'm just joking, of course. The Warriors able to really get the job done down the stretch. Blazers led 98-92 with 5:32 to play after a driving hoop from Shaedon Sharpe. But the Warriors able to respond and close out the game on an 18-8 run as they get the win, 110-106. And it's unfortunate because after that three from Thibault had cut the Warriors' lead to 1 at 95-94, the Blazers got a defensive stop, and then Kamara had the turnover, which led to the three from Curry. So they had a chance, had they not turned it over, to possibly win the game on their final possession, but it just wasn't meant to be. And, you know, that's what teams like the Warriors do with that type of experience. They know how to close out games. It's tough. But once again, a good showing, good effort. And this young Blazer squad able to compete, shorthanded once again, so I respect it. And now they'll get a chance for another tough matchup coming up on Friday with Luka coming to town. So all the youngsters, Burkhart, going to get a little education. They get it from Curry tonight. They're going to get some education from Luka on Friday. I can't wait to see Luka and the way he operates, because you know Chauncey's going to put Kamara on Luka at times. And that's going to be fun. Just grab your popcorn, sit back, and enjoy that action. Kamara is an annoying force for the Trailblazers, and I love everything about it.
And Luka's on one right now. Luka's playing ball. What, do you have a 40, 10, and 11 triple-double tonight? A couple nights ago, he had like a 35, 15, and 15 triple-double. I saw a highlight today that one of the guys from Utah was complaining after a call, and then Luka was caught on the mic saying he's just complaining because I'm busting his ass. like Luka is on one right now. But to your point, I do like that. That's a couple games now in a row where best player on the other side of the court, Chauncey starts the game with Tamani on him. And he is challenging him right out of the gate. And for the most part, I think he's stepping up to those challenges quite well.
Luke is on one right now. Chris is right. That's going to be a lot of fun on Friday. Luke is worth the price of admission alone, but I want to see how these young Blazers compete against the next challenge, which is going to be pretty awesome. All right, we'll come back on fifth quarter. When we do, we're going to give you what's the scoot. We'll focus in on Scoot Henderson and his play tonight, and I'll give you some of my takeaways on his game. But I think it's all good news for the Trailblazers, especially with these youngsters. Okay, so the song Tequila. We learned tonight that Angie Machado from Beaver Blitz, her uncle is a drummer, and he played drums on this song here. That's amazing.
I totally had Pee-wee's Big Adventure on as background noise the other day, too. Remember that scene where he's walking in the bar? Oh, yeah.
It's good. This song here with Kalafai is a classic. You hear it, you know it right away. Tequila!
You ever see there was this, like, I guess it's a meme or a question, like, if there was a, gun to your head, one song you could sing at karaoke without messing up any of the words, but if you do, you die. What song would you pick? Tequila.
This one.
I got to just say one word and say it on time.
I can say it on time. I can do this. You and I can do this.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back. What's the Scoots next on fifth quarter?
The best performing team requires the best workstations. What's the Scoot is brought to you by Office Furniture Reborn. Need desks, better office chairs, or just the right file cabinet? Office Furniture Reborn has a huge selection of colors and sizes to choose from. So drop by Office Furniture Reborn's huge showroom just off Pacific Highway in 217 or visit www.officefurniturereborn.com.
All right, tonight, Scoot Henderson able to get some good action with the injury early to Malcolm Brogdon, who left the game with knee soreness. Scoot Henderson got 25 minutes of play, scored 9 points, dished out 4 assists, and was 4 of 9 from the field. But what I really like about Henderson's play tonight, he was much more comfortable with his offensive game, much more sure of himself in terms of his operation. And if you look at his mid-range with the pull-up, and we saw a nice little, running one-handed jumper, I mean, you can see things starting to click and come together for Scoot. He's more comfortable. He was aggressive on the defensive end. We're just seeing progress in his development, which is terrific. So I really like what I'm seeing right now from Scoot Henderson. And again, for him, it's just a matter of continuing to apply himself when it comes to studying film, paying attention to the direction from his coaches and the veterans on the team. And with his work and practice, things will continue to come together. But again, I think what we're getting right now is glimpses from Scoot game to game now with progress. And I think he's going to continue to get better. The outside shot, the three-point shooting continues to be an issue, but we knew that was going to be an issue coming into his rookie season. So I'm excited with what I see from Scoot because we're seeing progress. And it's not just Scoot, but with the young guys, Tamani Kamara, Scoot Henderson, and, of course, Shaden Sharp. So, and even tonight, Chris Murray in limited action, able to make an impact, hitting a couple of threes. So that's very good. That's a good sign. The young guys developing, cashing in on the opportunity. They're getting a chance to play. But most importantly, Scoot Henderson, the game's slowing down, and he's appearing more comfortable out there.
Yeah, Marcus, I believe it was in the chat, made a good point. And that is Portland has had a pretty good run with some high draft picks, winning Rookie of the Year, right? Damian Lillard, Brandon Roy, etc. So it's okay if Scoot, as he said, takes a second to bake a little bit, Yeah,
it's all right.
I don't think that's the end of the world, especially, the way that, pregame I said I like Ann at the 2, why put him at the 1? But he and Shaden look real nice together. So, I don't know where they're going in the true future here, but if you let him bake a little bit and see this progression, it's nice.
Shaden was sensational tonight. 41 minutes, playing big minutes, 26 points, 10 of 18 from the floor, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Shaden looks good. Shaden will continue to start. He's earned that time, and he's one of the best players on the team right now and productive. So big props to what we're seeing from Shaden Sharp. Let's go out to the phones. East Amity, Ralph the Landscaper's back. What's up, Ralphie? What's cracking?
Well, Chan, I'm just glad that you're working here tonight. I haven't seen you in here for, a week or so anyway. And I know you've been doing that other deal, like Alan's old job, I think, kind of sort of like that. Is that true? Does that make sense? Or
That is correct, yeah. What Jay Allen used to do, I've been filling in and helping out with the Trailblazers on their pregame shows. So, a little double dip or dipsy-do or what have you. So whatever it takes, whatever they need, I'm here to help. I'm here to help people, Ralphie. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, I know you've always said that for years. You gotta help people, and that's what you do. And I heard the principal out there, he was on sometimes too. So let's just be honest. He needs to stay a principal and not be a radio announcer because it's a little choppy. You know what I mean, Jan? A little bit. He does a good job for a principal, but he's not doing a good job as a radio announcer, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, can you imagine talking to kids all day long and then getting on the radio and trying to talk to adults? That'd be a difficult transition, I think.
Yeah, it would be. Well, and plus, I think the bigger problem there, Chan, is when he talks to the kids and the kids have problems, then he talks to the parents. And he probably swears up a storm, says all kinds of dirty 4-letter words to the parents about how horrible they are as parents. And then he has to forget, oh, wait, that's right, I'm on the radio now. I can't actually get on here and start bombing away with those letter bombs like you young people call them.
Well, what do you think is more difficult? Harder. What do you think is more difficult for the principal, communicating with kids or dealing with the parents?
Parents, Chan. That's a stupid question. Let me talk to you about another stupid question. I don't know who the guy is that asked Coach the questions there.
Yeah.
You know,
what question drives you the most insane?
Like he said he's afraid to ask a question. He always sugarcoats it and makes it sound like, you're the greatest ever, and yeah. I mean, he does that in a roundabout way. So it's kind of a weak. If somebody came in for an interview with me, Chan, and I asked them a question and they kind of were like that, I would say, you're too scared. So if a customer comes up to you and says, "Hey, are you gonna take care of that shrubbery over there and that bark dust?" and you'd be too scared to answer him. You'd say yes, and then I would eat the bill because they never agreed to pay for it. So that guy. Anyway,
you actually bring up a good point. I got a question for you. What is a common question? Like if you're interviewing a young male who's going to be a part of one of your crews, what is one of the common questions you'll hit them with shortly after the interview process begins, the first time you speak with them?
Well, you got to see how smart they are, Chan. So one question I ask them is, if there's a bathtub that's almost full of water, and then you got in it, would the level go up or down? Would the water level go up or down?
Uh-huh.
And I see how they answer that question, and that tells me a whole lot about them. If they look at me like, what kind of dumb question is that? I have no idea. Or if they look at me and just casually blurt out the correct answer, then I think I might go on to the next question.
No, that reminds me of when I was a teenager working as a dishwasher at Red Robin, and one of the line cooks would say, "Hey, Chad, go get me a bucket of steam. Hurry up." And I'd be running around frantically looking for a bucket of steam until someone was like, "Hey, Chad, think about what you're doing right now."
That's day one, kind of an initiation. But I told my managers, I said, if any of these initiations that you clowns do cost me money, then you may as well start typing your resume.
Hey, are you still running sting operations where you set up some of the dudes on your crew with attractive ladies?
Women that come up and their car happens to break down right outside the job?
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at, Chad?
Yes.
Well, I've since talked to my attorney, and at this point I can neither confirm or deny that is still happening. When they wear the short skirt, Chan, and it's raining and it's cold, and they have these cool shoes on, and you see all these long legs and everything, and the damsel in distress out there with the car.
Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I'm setting that is happening.
But don't you think that's a good test of a young man to find out the character of the person that you have on your crews, how they handle a situation like that? I think that's a good measure of a man right there.
Yeah, it is. Now, some of you knuckleheads are saying, "Hey, so he's not supposed to help this lady?" No. Ralph never said that. Okay, Ralph said he's welcome to help her, but he doesn't need to know that brooch that she's wearing is actually a camera, and it's watching his eyes. Where are his eyes? Is he looking at trying to figure out what's wrong with the car, or is he looking elsewhere when she kind of turns her head and points to the back of the car? Or something like that. That's what Ralph wants to know.
Yeah, you want to know if they can stay focused in the moment. I get it. I understand.
Yeah. That's what I care about. And, it tells me. Well, I've told you before, Chan, when Lucy would interview, she's running my towing company in Southern California. When 14% owner, that keeps getting up and up and up in the millions of dollars. But when she was up here managing my office, she would ask these young bucks to take their shirt off as part of the interview. And you should see what their reaction was. It's like, okay, and that she's a dime piece, Chan. She's not a nickel or 5 pennies or a nickel and 5 pennies.
Yeah,
she's a solid dime piece, and a lot of them would think, hey, look, this lady's hitting on me. I'm gonna get this job here, And she would just look at them and see if they look scrawny and wimpy or if they seem to have some lean muscle mass. Like a good golfer does. You know what I'm saying, Chan?
No, I got you. Yeah, because you would think that, I don't know. I'm not an expert like you are when it comes to landscaping, but I'd figure that lean muscle mass might be helpful. You might want some lean muscle mass on your crew.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have. So speaking of that guy that asks all those dumb questions to the coach and sugarcoats him and sounds like he's scared, whatever your name is, you need to stop being scared, okay? That's just Ralph's advice to you. But, I know you're probably not listening. Your mom probably just gave you your glass of milk and is putting you in bed now. But let me say this here, Chan. He said something like there was a disparity in the fouls that were called. I've heard other people talk about this, Chan. Is there some rule that says, well, if you call 14 fouls on this team, you need to call 13 to 15 fouls on that team? Is it like it's supposed to be close? So it's supposed to be even? That makes zero sense to me, Chan. Is it? That goes along with people saying this league is kind of rigged, but it doesn't make sense to me that the refs have to call a certain number on both teams. Why are we talking about, they got more fouls than we did? And how do you feel about that? Well, because you guys are running around and kicking them in the shins and spitting on them and grabbing their junk and all that. That's what I'm wondering. Why do people think there should be an even thing there? Explain that to me.
Well, I think what happens is every fan base has an idea that the refs are out to get their team. And I think the issue with the NBA is the wild inconsistency game to game, night to night in the league in terms of how fouls are called and the interpretation on certain players and calls and everything else. I think that's the problem. It's the inconsistency which creates the frustration among fan bases across the country. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me because if everybody's supposed to get 15 fouls, both teams, then why don't the coaches have the ability to say, hey, I'm going to use one of their fouls right now and put my guy on the line? You see what I'm saying, Jan?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, it makes sense. Yeah, I understand. Well, the bottom line is if you're the aggressor, in most cases, if you're the aggressor, the official is going to recognize that early, and they normally will reward the aggressive team for their style of play and put them on the foul line. So be aggressive, attack.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I guess that's the way it works. It's all kinds of these little nuances that they want you to think are nuances of this game. That I don't know that they make sense totally. But then again, I'm a businessman, and let me say this about the team and how they're playing. And I heard you and Burkhardt saying, yeah, it's great that they're in these games. And that is, I'm very pleased with that. If I'm a fan, I'd be very pleased. And I personally, Chan, as the kids say, personally, they like to say that, which drives me crazy. It's like, no, when you say that, I don't hear it coming from that guy's mouth over there, so I know it's from you, so I know it's personally. So anyway, Chan, listen, when they say something like, hey, what's going on with such and such a player, he's doing good, and this team is really hanging in there. A lot of people don't want to give the coach any credit. Well, to me, I think he deserves a lot of credit. If I was the devil's advocate, though, Chan, I would say, well, the only reason these kids are playing well is because they all know they are potential trade bait, and they're trying to look good for another potential team. What do you think of that? Am I off base on that, or is that thinking too hard about it?
No, I don't think that's thinking too hard. I think players are always aware that when they're playing, it's not just to showcase what they can do for their current team, but also putting themselves on display for other potential teams, because most of the players understand it's a business, and when you're out there on the floor, you're not just playing for your current team, but you also are playing for a potential future team as well. They all get it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's one of those things that you got to do because, obviously I'm a businessman. And hey, Chan, I'll tell you about this later, but, if you know anything about Honda jets, let me know because, a couple of buddies of mine have nice jets, and they're trying to talk me into buying a Honda jet. And I told them, I said, I don't know, where am I going to go with that? Where am I going to pick up Chan and we're going to go see the Eagles or something? And what's going on here? And so if you know anything about Honda jets, let me know. And they want me to get a new one because it's got the newest features on it and all that. And anyway, it's one of those things. So
I'll do
Oh,
that.
I'll let you go. Hey, Chan, final question. I forgot to ask you this. Where are all these callers? There's nobody calling. That Ron and Salt Lake guy? Nope. Tall Tim? Nope. What's his name? Devin? Kieran, I guess it is. Nope. Not. Where they all at, Chan? Nobody's calling.
I don't know. It's a good question. You know, callers call when they call. I'm not really sure, Ralphie. I'm sure they'll be checking back in soon. I think I heard from Kieran probably a couple of weeks ago. But, yeah, it's a good question. Ron in Salt Lake a couple of weeks ago. So, you know how callers are. They come, they go, and that's just part of the game.
You know, I see when I go on the YouTubes there, I see a lot of names in there. I don't see any of those people ever calling.
Well, I think some of the YouTubers they're chatters. They like to chat on the computer, but they don't like to call in. A lot of people don't want to hear themselves on the radio.
Yeah. So in other words, they're socially dysfunctional. In other words, what you're telling me.
That's quite possible. I think aren't we all a little bit socially dysfunctional to a degree?
Well, I don't think Burkhardt is, but you are, and you know, Alan. I don't think Alan was either, but. You know, that's just my opinion. You know, you'd rather be out on the golf course than anything else, and you know that's okay. A guy your age, well, you should be. You know, that I understand that. That makes sense.
I would agree.
So, all right, Chan. Now, you know, tell Burkhardt to bring you some jerky and some steaks next time. You guys plan ahead for that, and he needs to take care of the original steer and gives you a wider variety of sample than just some little jerky there.
I know. I'm all about that, man. You've been there and you understand the greatness of it. But, yeah, that jerky is delicious. You're the best, Ralphie.
Yeah, the greatness is it's an old-school meat market. It's not like, you know, it's the real deal, if you know what I mean. And that gives it a lot of street cred. And his dad is a worker bee and a manager bee, so I got to give him props for those. So,
that's true.
Well, you have a good night, Chan. And you're not working at this deal Friday, or?
I will not be. Burkhardt's taking over on Friday.
All right. Well, say hi to Glenn, you know, or Vince Gill, or whoever the rest of the Eagles are there for me. Okay.
All right, I'll do it, man. You're the best, Ralphie.
See you later.
There you go. I think Ralphie respects your pops, Chris, because one business owner to another.
Ralph doesn't know how lucky he got that he showed up to the market and Jim Butcher was there.
I've never flown in a Honda jet. Have you ever been in a private jet?
No, but as I pointed out on the YouTube chat, the amount of day trips you take, you need a private jet.
I would like that. If you have that type of wealth, right, where you can just jump on a private jet, that's got to be pretty nice, right? Because you wouldn't have to go through all the the normal rigmarole that the rest of the people do. That's genius.
It'd be nice. Like have you ever just done a chartered flight?
I've been on a charter flight.
Like
before.
even a charter flight is nice. It's like, okay, I get to skip all the TSA nonsense and just get right on the plane. And as soon as I get off the plane, I get right into my vehicle that I'm going to. It was a bus, but still, like, nice.
I have flown on one or two charter flights. One of them was down to the Rose Bowl back in like 2008, 2009, when the Ducks played the Ohio
State one?
Were you at that one?
Yeah, I was at that one. That was 2010.
No, that wasn't 2010.
It was the 2010 Rose Bowl.
Yeah, the 2009 season. But
2009 season, but it was the 2010 Rose Bowl.
That's right. So, and it was cool because I remember when we got on the plane, we boarded the plane from the tarmac. It was at PDX, but we didn't have to go through security or anything like that. Yeah. And then when we got on, they had like they gave us food and beverage like right from the start, and they showed like a movie on the plane. Like it was a totally relaxed environment. It was really cool.
It's nice.
I did not hate it. Let's just put it that way.
It's not private jet life, but it's still nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I feel like Chad though might be the type that goes to his head after a while. Like if you were on a private jet, it's only a matter of time before Chad's like those horror stories you hear of like celebrities are like, every concert, Beyonce wants M&Ms, but only green-colored M&Ms. Like, that would be Chad. Like, I need the air temperature in the cabin to be exactly this temperature. This brand of water needs to be at my chair.
Well, that's the problem. That's why I don't like to live too much of the high life, because you get spoiled. The one trip that I took, and this was it was a chartered flight. This was back in, like, 1997. And I only went because I was a friend of a friend. But what happened is that this there was this lady, her name was Margie. I think her name was Margie. I want to say her last name was Sykes, but anyway, she was like a real estate tycoon. So she created her own wealth. She was a big time gambler, a big high roller, like playing at the card table, and the Peppermill Casino down in Reno would invite her down, and they just wanted her at the casino because they knew she would spend big money. So they would charter flights for her, and then she could invite whatever friends and family down that she wanted. And so I got invited to go down as part of her group one time. And so we jumped on a charter flight, flew into Reno, and it was amazing because when we got to the casino, they led us up to this massive suite called the Roman Room, and it had like 6, 7, 8 bedrooms. I'd never seen anything like it in my entire life. And the best part is that we each got a card for the room, and they're like, anything you want in the casino, just put it on the room, and we're going to pick it up. And when we showed up, they had this giant feast of like lobster and crab, all these different things on this table to welcome her in. And I remember the high class thing that I remember is I think Margie was a smoker, but all the matchbooks, it said Peppermill Casino, and you flipped it around, it said Margie Sykes on it.
Oh, wow.
They actually created her own matchbooks that she had lying around. I was like, this is unbelievable. And this is like, and you can relate to this, but this is like, I was a few weeks out from a competition. I was doing one of my bodybuilding shows. So I went down, and so my food needs were quite ridiculous at the time, but I was able to send, because I was part of her crew, I was able to send the concierge out to get me like distilled gallons of water and bring all this stuff back to the room. So I was totally dialed in.
Nice.
How baller is that?
Dude, I still ask the Godfather about it. I still get crap from him and friend of the show, Peter Sokach, because one of the very first trips I ever took with NBC was the playoffs against San Antonio, right? And I was like 3 weeks out of competition, so you're in hardcore cut mode. So I had all my meals prepped and brought a 6-pack cooler with me on the plane.
Yeah,
and so
deal.
We went out to just like a classic, the ice houses in Texas that are like just the beautiful barbecue joints. And yeah, Peter gets brisket, Godfather's getting brisket and smoked turkey. I pulled out my pre-made pack of tilapia and asparagus that I brought with me to San Antonio. It was pure torture.
Dude, it's so brutal. And you know what it's like when you get closer. So usually a couple of weeks out, I'm hammering 2 gallons of water a day. 2 gallons of water a day a couple of weeks out. And by the time you get to the final week, you start creeping up until that final day before the show. I would get 3 gallons in by noon to fully flush the system. It craziness. But having concierge go and run and get all the things I needed made life easier. I was spoiled. I'm like, I wish I could live like that every day.
Absolutely.
Private jet, personal chef, and then before you know it, life's much easier that way. But when you got to do all the details yourself, it becomes a real agonizing pain.
Yeah.
Right? All right, I think that's going to do it for us. Next Trailblazer broadcast will come up on Friday. Blazers, Mavericks, tip-off at 7. Game day will start at 4:30. Rip City Drive tomorrow at 3. Justin Myers has Rip City Mornings at 6 o'clock. Always remember, you can go to youtube.com and pull up our homepage, Rip City Radio 620. All the live links to our local shows are right there, and you can subscribe to the page. Final score tonight from Chase Center in San Francisco. The Warriors over the Trailblazers by a final score of 110-106. For Chris Burkhardt, I'm Chad Doing. Thanks for your time, and have a good night, my friends.